Around the country, postal members are telling the union that they're increasingly worried about job security. They see little difference in management's command and control culture and are struggling to cope with the way change is being introduced. There's also a growing recognition that the shape and size of the postal industry is changing forever. The situation reflects the fact that in the history of the union, there has never been a more complex or difficult set of issues impacting at the same time. I've come to speak to Dave Ward, Deputy General Secretary Postal, to talk about the issues affecting the future of the postal industry. Dave Ward, Deputy General Secretary Postal, thank you so much for joining us today. Have you met with the government recently?
Yeah, we actually met with the Minister yesterday. We met with the shareholder executive, which is all of the civil servants who deal with the day-to-day issues in the post office. We met with them last week. We've had some very detailed discussions. What we've said to the government is, well, yeah, we understand that you've gone through Parliament. The Postal Services Bill is now an Act of Parliament, but we don't believe that debate is over. And we've told the government that we've got genuine concerns about privatisation still. We still intend to oppose it, but we also have to deal with the realities of that and how it impacts on the workforce. And we've said to the government that they can't succeed and Royal Mail can't succeed unless they address the concerns of the workforce. So, my view on that is I don't believe that our members are out there jumping through hoops that, as some people some politicians believe, that they're going to get so many percent of shares. I think people are genuinely worried about what privatisation will mean. Well, it's our job to deal with that now, and we're going to counter that by making sure that we get better agreements on job security, better secure pensions for our members, and that we can actually continue to improve our members' terms and conditions. So there's a huge debate still to have with the government. We made that clear. I believe they understand that.
Your members are feeling the pressure though, aren't they? They're kind of feeling that in many ways you fought for a campaign that hasn't been successful. For lots of them it's about you kind of lifting their heads up and saying there really is something worth fighting for here.
Yeah, I think we can't just focus on one issue. Privatisation was a very important subject, still is, and we're going to continue to try and deal with that issue. But I think you can't forget the fact, and our members see this every day, that competition is also crucially important. They see this, particularly people in delivery who deliver the competitors' mail. They know the damage that that's doing. And I suppose that, when we look at the Keep the Post Public campaign, it was always going to be an uphill task. We were dealing with a government that had a majority, a new government. We understood that, but we carried on fighting against that. And, we're absolutely convinced that debate is not over. What's important for our members to understand about that debate is that the government may have got the Act agreed by Parliament, but it's still got to find a buyer. And at this stage, that can't happen until after it goes through European state aid process for state aid approval, which won't happen at the earliest until around March 2012. So we believe we've got the policies now that can engage the government, engage our members and try and deal with some of these things. So whilst they did get it through Parliament, we also secured changes in the way that competition is going to be dealt with in the future. We put in stronger safeguards on the universal service that will in the longer term protect our members' jobs. So we did get some concessions from the government, and the debate is still moving forward. And
it was a debate that was very important for not just your members but actually the British public, wasn't it? It was bringing it to light.
Yeah.
And for you, demonstrated the huge affection that people hold you in, which must be a huge asset.
Well, I think this is the key discussion about the future of postal services in the UK. What I find very interesting when you look at what's happening to the postal industry is that there is still great support from the public. I think that the public still love the traditions of the British Post Office. They still like to see their post office open. They still like to see our members walking down their streets. I think it gives them a sense of security, a sense of community, and I do believe they support that. I suppose the problem is, in all honesty, is that what we sometimes bring to the public now doesn't seem to have the same value to them in terms of the post bag, the daily post bag and what's contained in it, because obviously the digital age is changing.
They're delivering it in other ways.
Exactly. So our job is, well, how can we make that more relevant? I am convinced that we can still put postal workers at the heart of local communities and at the heart of the UK economy.
So that's how you're dealing or trying to deal then with your union members, the workforce. Understand change is coming, but you have a say in how that change and that future can be shaped. What's your strategy for dealing then with the management? Because you want them to understand that this workforce is still their greatest asset, don't you?
Well, I think what I would say to Royal Mail, I mean, obviously the strategy is to engage in negotiations and deal with some of these different circumstances. There's a new business plan that's come to fruition, and in our view, that business plan potentially threatens our members' job security, some of the agreements we've already got, and it does raise the real threat of compulsory redundancies. So, you know, we're not going to accept that. We're going to go in there and we're going to say to the company, well, you're going to have to sit down with us. And if it's good enough for you as a company to say we need a new business plan because of all of these external changes that are going on, well, it's good enough for us to say, and we need extended job security. We need you to guarantee to the workforce that if we buy into the concept of change, that you're still going to keep people who want to retain a job in the business have got a long-term future. So we're going to put some pressure on the company, and I think we're entitled to. Another area where I'm really keen to start debating with our members and putting pressure on the company is this whole question of new products and services. I think where we can rightly criticise Royal Mail at the moment is that they are incredibly weak in this area. So what you've got is a company that has got to face up to change, same as we have, but they seem at the moment only able to do it by reducing costs. Now we all know that is going to continue. You know, they're always going to look at reducing costs if they can find ways of doing that. What I want to see from the company and what we're going to challenge them on increasingly is, well, where are your energies and where's your innovation in developing new products and services? The union is going to lead that debate, and we're going to, if you like, be the conscience of the company in making sure that they're also looking to take advantage of the opportunities that exist by, if you like, harnessing all of those benefits of postal workers going to every single door, 26 million, 27 million households, all of those post offices in communities. Let's harness that with the digital revolution. Let's not be completely frightened of it.
Yeah, a new role almost for unions, not the traditional role of unions. You're saying we're going to look at this business too.
Well, I think we have to do that because our primary aim is obviously to secure our members' jobs. What we can never do, Emma, is say to our members that we can secure the job they used to have. That's not going to be possible. But we can still make these jobs good jobs for people. We can still make these jobs where people feel they have got a secure future. But it will mean adapting. But I do think that, you know, if we can get this debate going amongst the workforce, I think there are tremendous opportunities in the future to change the way postal workers relate to communities, to build on that. And I think the company aren't seeing that at the moment. You know, the company are doing what most companies do. They only see one thing, and it's the easy thing. You know, I mean, it does frustrate me when, you know, you hear this world of top executives. And in society today, people seem to believe that you pay people well for cutting things. You know, I mean, that's the easy thing. The hard thing, and I believe what managers in this company and chief executives in this company, if they're going to earn bonuses, we'll let them earn bonuses for how we're going to grow the business as well. You know, let's see that side. Let's see how good they are at that. We want to engage with them in that debate.
There's a lot of talking with a lot of different groups, and I know that you spend, you know, most of your time doing this. Do you feel that they're willing to have as much dialogue as you would like to have?
I think the honest answer is they're always worried when the union, you know, as we have done at our conference recently, where we've agreed a policy, which is a difficult policy. You know, it'll be difficult for the company, difficult for the government, difficult for our members. Because, you know, I do have to make this clear. We have said that we're up for constructive dialogue, but if we can't find solutions to some of these things, then we're prepared to fight again on the issues that count. And I think the company, knowing that we say that to them very, very frankly, are obviously worried about that. At the moment, we've just had a meeting with the company, and we have agreed a structure for talks going forward that, one, are going to address the impact of potential privatisation. So all those concerns that our members will have about that, well, we're going to talk to the company about that, and the government themselves have also agreed to continue dialogue on that. 2, they have to address things like colleague share, and we've made it absolutely clear that we're not backing away from that issue. What this company done on that colleague share payment, we didn't agree with that scheme in the first place. We'd rather have money in higher basic pay, but having put the scheme out to our members, they owe our members money. They can talk about all of the valuations that they do, and all the complexities around that, and they've taken us through loads and loads of detail. Well, frankly, that's one debate. The key debate is what you've done is wrong, and we intend to put that right. So that's on the agenda. We can't promise our members that we're going to restore all of that money, but we're going to give it a go. And if they support us, I believe that there are things that we can do to improve the benefits package for our members, even at this difficult time. So colleague share is firmly on the agenda, pensions is firmly on the agenda. And then the third area of talks will be around business transformation. We've had a meeting where we've gone through where we are with business transformation, and the company are recognising that it hasn't gone smoothly in some places. We do want to try and sort of build on where it has gone well. We want to support the company in establishing some of the lessons that have been learned in places where it's gone well and spreading that to other offices. But we're going to have a proper discussion about all of the issues associated with business transformation. So there are opportunities to build and improve the agreement in those areas. And
that's really, if we try and sum this up, the image that you want people to take away, isn't it? What's life going to be like in a privatised world, all your members are asking. But you want them to sort of, not be heads down, to look up knowing that they've got a stake in that future.
I always believe that it's possible to shape change. I always believe that if our members are prepared to sort of deal with the realities of the environment we're working in, let's forget about the past now. Because I think the more we think about the past, the more perhaps stressful it's going to be to contemplate what the future holds. But I am a passionate believer that if people get together, if people stand firm around the right issues, then we will influence the outcome of these debates. And I'm totally convinced that this company has got a future. It can't be the same as what it was in the past. We've got a lot of work to do with the company. We've got to push the company in the right direction. We've got to push the government. But, I've never known a situation, Emma, where if a trade union communicates with its membership properly, let's have an honest discussion about these issues with our members over the coming weeks and months, which is what we're committed to doing. If we get together, we will achieve a better outcome for our members, and we will achieve a future. And as I've said in the letter, I absolutely believe that there's still a future worth fighting for.
Well, Dave, if you let us, we'd like to follow you in the coming months as you discuss more and more of these topics with your members, and I look forward to that. So to the next time.
So do I, because I think we're at a point now where communication is vital. Our members' views matter, and we're totally committed to going out and talking to our members and making sure that we can learn about their workplace issues more on a more regular basis, but equally that we do that in the context of the environment we're operating in. So I look forward to future discussions as well.
Well, for now, thank you very much.
Thank you.